ShartimusPrime, ShartimusPrime. Reading comics, toys are hella sick, hella whacking it. Taking bad hits, taking bad shit. Subscribe.
And then there's your Peter B. Pata.
Hey, what's up you guys? ShartimusPrime here, doing another Marvel Legends action figure review on the Marvel Legends Tri-Sentinel Build-A-Figure Waves Omega Sentinel. If you're trying to get your Marvel Legends, you can do so at
Big. Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below.
While you're down there, I ask you to show your support by please hitting that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. This is looking pretty sweet, so more or less. Anyway, on the front you can see you get an X-Men logo right here, and then you get the Krakoan spot varnished on the side, nice image of Omega Sentinel, and then on the back that same image, just zoomed out, there's a read-up over here. If you want to read it, go ahead and pause it right now. And then there's all the other figures from the wave. You get that same image on this side right here, but inverted, and then a spot varnished red X logo on the top. Not much more at the bottom, so let's get to it and crack this thing open.
And here's the Omega Sentinel, aka Karima Shapandar, out of the packaging. I will discuss the things that I like about this figure, and I will also talk about the things that I do not like. But first, let's get a closer look at the accessories. So aside from the Build-A-Figure piece and the two head sculpts, these are the accessories that we get with Omega Sentinel. And speaking of accessories, if you're waiting for my Miles Morales Mafex figure review, that'll come up later in the week because, yeah, those take some time to review. They have so many accessories and stuff to talk about. But looking at this right here, I love how these arms look. We'll get a closer look at these as we look at the whole figure and everything. But you get, you know, a slightly open hand on the left side, fisted hand on this side. But these look amazing, especially this piece right over here. I love how we get this nice orange paint in between these sculpted patterns and everything throughout. It looks really good. Maybe right there it looks a little sloppy. You might find some imperfections, of course, but hey man, I think this is badass. I really like it a lot. It still has that elbow hinge right there, so when you're swapping these out, you know, they just port in right over here, so not really hard to do or anything like that. One idea that was brought to me by patron Frecky, shout out Frecky, he asked if I could port in a lightsaber into this port right over here, and you can do that. So you may want to heat this up first. It just makes it a little bit easier, but that does work out pretty well. So I like that. I don't know what happened to that line right there on the lightsaber, but yeah, that is really neat. If you wanted to see how maybe a Black Widow effect part would look, like a little pew pew, you could do that right there. And then we have a repulsor blast effect from Iron Man right here, and oh, it's not, oh no, it's not gonna fit. Oh, so yeah, a little bit of a bummer that you can't port that in there. Yeah, it's not gonna work out. At least you can get the lightsaber in there, but man, this thing looks really cool. Then you have this one as well. It doesn't have any paint on it or anything, and I like how the metal look on this whole figure kind of has this slight bluish teal to it. I don't know, a little bit of marbling right here that I'm not a big fan of, but for the most part, I really like this sculpt a lot. These look badass. Yeah, some paint on the inside of this would have been nice to have, right? Something. Now, to be honest, I'm not terribly familiar with Omega Sentinel. I have read some books with her in it, but in my mind, she's a fairly obscure character, and I do know that the hair color right here is not ideal. It should be black with a brown skin tone, unless I'm wrong about that. The more popular head sculpt, as you can see in some of these pictures, is dearly missed by a lot of fans of the character, so a little unfortunate that they went with this head sculpt right here, which I believe is when she was possessed by Archaea or Malice. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not terribly familiar with the character, but I do like this head sculpt, even though it's not the most desired head sculpt for Omega Sentinel. So I think it does look pretty cool. I like how we get that nice metallic faceplate right over there. The lips look a little off to me just by the slightest bit, and I like how the eyes look. The hair sculpt is awesome over here. I really do like that a lot. Big bulky hair. I mean, just looking at it on its own, I think that looks dope. But yeah, it's not really the look that a lot of people really wanted to see for Karima Shapandar, who was an Indian police officer, and then Bastion turned her into a Prime Sentinel, and then she has your generic enhancement powers of the super strength, super speed. She could fly and shoot blasts out of her hands and stuff. She also has the nanotech capabilities and everything like that. So, and I think it was Rogue's X-Men that actually restructured her and brought her back and everything, and that's how we have the look that we have right over here. And she is teamed up with Nimrod in his conquest and everything in the House of X Powers of 10 storyline. But this head sculpt looks amazing as well. I really do think they look like really good head sculpts. Again, it's just that they should have included, you know, the black hair version without the stuff on the face, you know what I mean? But this looks really cool too. I really like how it has a matte finish to it, and you can see this sculpted white portions right over here look really good. So I love that it's not just tampoed on there. You get those sculpted pieces with nice clean paint applications. I think the neck looks just maybe a little on the long side, but not too bad. And I gotta say, that's like really my one complaint as far as sculpt goes. I mean, look at this. This is all new stuff right over here. All these cybernetic parts and everything look fantastic. I like how you have that ribbed pattern in the joint right there. I like these little port pieces, or they're not ports, but I don't know what to call them. You can see that they have these little nice plugs though, you know, all painted inside right there. The hands look good. Would be nice if she had interchangeable hands, but you know, this looks awesome. I really like how this worked out. Looks great right there in the armpit and everything. Here's looking at the back. The torso paint and everything looks really good. Well, I'm just noticing this right over here. A little splotchy. There's minor imperfections that you'll see throughout on the figure, but it looks really good. I like the sculpt right here on the ribs. I like how there's clearance right here when you move this forward. I don't like the gap right there, but, you know, I do like that you don't get that running into itself, so that's pretty neat. And the legs look really good, and then there's your Omega Sentinel nalgas, and then the thighs have these rings right over here, or closer to the hips anyway. I just really like the sculpt of this thing through and through. It looks awesome. I like how this is all sculpted right here. Nice looking feet and everything. Almost looks like she has Adidas on right for a second. It's missing a stripe, but there you go. You got peg holes at the bottom of the feet and all the serial number stuff at the bottom of the feet as well. I do appreciate that. Now with Pigtail's head sculpt on there, I do want to show that the head will not look up. I mean, yeah, we all saw that coming. There's just so much hair back there, but it will still look down, and you can turn the head side to side and you get head pivoting. Then looking at the hairless slash redhead version right here, you can see that this will look all the way up like that, which is awesome, and it will look all the way down. You get shifting forward and back like a pile driver, turn side to side, and not much head pivoting at all over there. Shoulders will move outward. I like how this plate moves over right here, so that's cool. You can move them down all the way, rotate a full 360. You get an elbow swivel, and then all of the elbows hinge just a little bit past the 90-degree mark, and then you get wrists that turn side to side, and they both hinge up and down. You get a great diaphragm joint that turns side to side, diaphragm pivot, crunches forward that much, back that much, hips move outward that far. She will kick forward this much, but tends to move outward while doing that, and it's weird. I don't know why it does that. That's kind of an old school Hasbro Legends thing I used to see, so that does bother me that it does that. That's just so weird. I don't see why it can't move straight forward, and I get a little bit of rubbing right there around the crotch, or the inner thigh anyway. Leg will move back, but again, kind of flaring out at a weird angle. I don't know what that is. Anyway, you get a thigh cut right there, double jointed knees, and then the ankles move down, they move up, and she has beautiful ankle pivot. To measure out this Omega Sentinel figure, you can see that she is standing just barely under 6 inches and a quarter. And then here's Omega Sentinel next to a couple other characters from the 616 with the similar skin complexions, or they're supposed to have similar skin complexions. We have the Pakistani hero right over here, Ms. Marvel, and then Latina now, right? Laura Kinney. This head sculpt does not fit on this body, so that frustrates me because I think this would have been a great head sculpt that they could have used for a Karima head sculpt, but no, yeah. So maybe if you want to Dremel out some of the plastic, but the peg right here is just way too small. And then here's Omega Sentinel next to an average female figure. We have the green Phoenix figure with the dark Phoenix head sculpt right over there, which looks pretty good, and they stand more or less around the same height. Did want to see a head swap over here to see if this was possible. Maybe we can make a Karima head sculpt out of this Jean Grey head sculpt over here, and it will pop on there, but that neck is way too long. You'd have to Dremel in there and then add those ports and other pieces on that face and everything to get that to work, but it is possible, maybe. I don't know. I'm curious to see what customizers do. And then here's Omega Sentinel next to Nimrod, and this is not my favorite figure from Marvel Legends, but I do like that Hasbro included the interchangeable parts so that we could have the contemporary Nimrod that fits along perfectly with this Omega Sentinel. Seeing these two side by side like this, it just makes me very happy. And then here's Omega Sentinel next to the other figures from this wave that I've already reviewed. We have Marvel Girl, Wolverine, and Magneto. And then here's Omega Sentinel next to your average 6-inch scale figure. We have the Marvel Legends Big Time Badass Spider-Man. Whoa, I do love redheads. Whoa, and your arm turns into a fleshlight? Badass! Ah! So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please show some love to the channel by hitting that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And if you feel inclined to do so, show some extra love by joining up on the membership or on Patreon, link below, or you can click that join button. And this figure is a lot of fun for me. I really like this figure a lot. I know it has some different issues with that interchangeable head sculpt, but I really like this figure. It looks dope. It overall has a very clean look to it. It looks very crisp. I love that the redhead head sculpt had very clean paint apps on my copy, so I'm very pleased with that, and overall it's just a dope looking figure. I do have my complaints about it, especially with the way the hips move forward. That's really weird, and again, the alternate head sculpt issue. So yeah, it's not a perfect figure by any means at all, but I am still impressed with this figure, and at the price point of around 20 to 25 bucks, I'm gonna give this Omega Sentinel a SUD rating of
I love it.
and I'd like to know what you guys think, so please let me know in the comment section below. And I want to know how attached you are to the character, because as I mentioned earlier, I'm not terribly familiar with Karima Shapandar, so let me know what you think. If you want to see the latest in Marvel news and a photo gallery of images, you can find it all over at marvelousnews.com, and if you want to stay in touch with me on social media, you can find me over on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, and I will catch you guys later. Peace!
That's crispy.
Hey, new ShartimusPrime videos. Hey, you should click one. Yeah, click on one of them. Or subscribe if you haven't.
Your face.